All right, before we continue into fighting drills, into kicks, I want to show a few more techniques when you're inside and when you're up close. You can always slap the groin. We don't like to hit the groin in Haganah. Sometimes the person has tight jeans and that shot is not penetrating. Anytime you slap the groin from any angle, we call it in Israel, you're ringing the bell. And when you ring the bell downstairs, they always pay attention upstairs. Okay, so basically slapping the groin. Number two, you got the ear slap. Now, when you ear slapping in training, keep your fingers open. In reality, I'm going to cup. And when I slap him here, what that do is it's going to mess up his equivalent. You're not going to knock him out, but he's going to be all messed up from his equivalent. That will give you the freebie for the overlap. You also have an eye gouge. Now, I know it sounds bad, but in Israel, we say when we gouge the eye, make sure you're playing ball, as in bowling. In other words, make sure the thumb goes all the way into the skull. All right? Again, this is for worst case scenario. You'll have to decide what your objectives are. Again, that's the eye gouge coming in, all right, versus the finger jab, that's an entry technique. And finally, we have the headbutt. Now, the worst scenario you can do is headbutt somebody like this. You're going forehead against forehead. That is considered in our system skill against skill or conditioning against conditioning. You never know how conditioned your opponent is in the street. You don't know how tough your enemy is on the battlefield because you never train with him. In other words, you cannot go skill against skill. I'm going to go strategy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drop him right on top of my head. When I drop him, I'm dropping his face on top of my head, right there, all right, driving him down. That will short circuit him in the sense of his nose will break. He's going to start tearing from his eyes, and the pain is too much for him to mentally and emotionally take, versus going here and see who's tougher. The weapon of biting. Okay, biting is a natural weapon. When push comes to shove, you can bite. Okay, usually the biting to us as Haganah practitioner will be done on the ground because it's an effective weapon. Now, there are people who have debates about do I bite, don't I bite, there's diseases, there's blood transmission, this and that. If he's going to kill you because you never got to bite, all this irrelevant. In other words, when the situation becomes desperate, you're going to have to go up with a weapon that's going to be able to match that desperate situation. As far as biting, as an Haganah student, if you have the option, I want you to bite where there is clothing, when it's not connected straight to the skin without clothing. In other words, if I'm on the ground and I can position myself to bite right here, I'll go ahead and bite here before I bite here. The biting is there as a short circuit technique. In other words, when you bite somebody, you're definitely getting their attention. The only rule we have about biting is that your teeth meet. If you're going to choose to bite, you better make sure those teeth meet. There's no biting, halfway biting. If you're going to bite, go ahead, teeth meet. The best target to bite is the neck. But again, you're going to have to adjust yourself according to the situation. I don't want you to be upstairs and close the gap, and instead of elbow him in the neck, go ahead and bite him in the neck. Because you have a weapon that can be adjusted at that situation to elbow, which will short circuit him and do damage, I'm going to choose the elbow. However, when you're in a situation where your hands are tied up and the only thing that's available there, you have to learn to take it. In other words, if the opportunity is there and you don't have the weapon in your mind to use it, opportunity is going to be irrelevant. So biting is a weapon. You use it according to the situation, and if you choose to bite, remember, those teeth must meet.